What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another MJG Trades YouTube video. This time, as you guys can see by the title, we are going to be talking about Novo Nordisk. We're going to be looking at a couple things in this video, but I just basically want to go over why I believe this is one of the best mid to long-term opportunities that I am seeing in the market today. We're going to go over the technicals of this play, the fundamentals, and yeah, I mean, I just want to give you guys this information because if you aren't seeing it right now, I think we might not be seeing this price for long. So I think it's very important to take advantage of it when you can. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to cover quite a bit of things, but I'm going to try to keep it rather short, but also insightful. So first thing I want to talk about is this major blue trend line that you guys can see that I have drawn in here. If I make it a little bit bigger, you can see it a little bit better. As you can see, this trend line has been intact since December of 2016. This trend line was also touched in September of 18 and then in March of 2020 during the COVID crash. Now, we have not seen this trend line come into play in a very long time, and it looks like we are about to approach it. Now, sometimes when you look at a trend line by itself, you have to be careful because that's what, you can have false breaks. But I am seeing a lot of divergence amongst our other indicators that makes me believe we are getting a very good opportunity. So first thing I want to talk about is our Fibonacci retracement tool. We can see that we are reaching the third extension of this down cycle. The zero level is going to be our all-time high. And then our first wave down came down to about 117 from 150, and we're using that as our one level. As you can see, we are approaching this third extension down here at 42.28. Now, not only that, but we can see a major support area over here from July of 2021 all the way over to October of 2022. This area was touched 3 times before it would finally break out. Not only that, but we are also seeing a major influx of volume coming in here at this key support level. It's one of my favorite things, because to see big volume spikes, this isn't retail traders. This is institutions coming in, and institutions are getting more active in trading this stock. And when you piece together all this information, to be honest with you, there's only really one way it could be going, in my opinion. Diving further into this, we are seeing the RSI. As you can see, we're getting crazy divergence. We have the RSI slowly increasing while price is decreasing. We can also see this on the MACD. The MACD has crossed multiple times, and the MACD keeps going higher, but the price keeps falling. It just looks like it's so compressed, and it's just ready to explode. Novo Nordisk is trading at a 13.79 PE. I believe that would be the lowest price earnings it's probably ever traded at, given the growth that we are expecting. I'm going to get into all the fundamentals and everything here in a second, but I wanted you guys to take in this technical chart before we dive into the fundamentals, because technicals alone, like this is what you look for. This is the exact kind of chart you would be looking for. Diving into the fundamentals for Novo, there are a couple things we are going to be keeping, I want to point out. We're going to look at for the first 6 months of 2025 compared to the first 6 months of 2024. We can see the top line is growing at 16%. We see operating profits increasing by 25%. Net profits increasing by 22%, and diluted EPS is up by 23%. So they are still growing, and they are growing at a double-digit rate. And like I said, it's trading at a 13 PE. This is a very important company. And companies this size tend to not get discounted this heavily, but that's just what's going on. The next thing I want to take a look at is their position in the diabetes, obesity, and hemophilia. I don't know if I said that right. I'm not a big bio guy, but I can look at a chart and kind of get an understanding of what's happening. When we look at diabetes care, we can see that Novo right now is still number 1 in the game. You can see right up here, number 1 in diabetes care, number 1 in obesity care, and they are 4th in the hemophilia. And we can see the CAGR value of diabetes care is up 15%, and the CAGR value of the obesity care is at 128.5%. The point being is Novo is not going anywhere. And to further elaborate this point, I want to show you this chart that they have provided. We can see that 1 in 8 people by 2050 will have diabetes. In 2024, right now, it's 1 in 9 people have diabetes. So that is 589 million adults worldwide in 2024, and they are expecting it to go up to 853 by 2050. It's very important to realize because there have been a lot of people that have been a little scared off of Novo. There's just been a lot of weird lawsuits that have came out, just a lot of noise and a lot of chatter that I think is being way, way, way overdone here. Diving into some more of these slides that I felt like were important to show, you know, we can see in this chart right here, we can see their reported quarterly sales by therapy. Diabetes and obesity care is way, way up. We can see a brief little decline. Like I said, this is so tiny in the grand scheme of how big this thing has actually gotten, that to me, this is just, it shouldn't be that concerning. Diabetes is more than likely going to keep going up. People are going to continue to need GLP-1s to solve it. And Novo is a leader. When we look over at the total growth of the GLP-1s, which is, you know, their biggest segment of revenue, it is still up 10%, and the share of growth is 30%. Moving a little bit further here, once again, just to show you this point, we can see that in the US, how big GLP-1 sales actually are for this company. And like I said, it is just going to keep increasing. Even if growth has slowed down slightly, trading at a 13 PE when this company is a leader in, you know, arguably probably the most important medicine, I would say right now, you know, it is just exploded in the United States. So with that being said, we checked the income statement. If we also want to go ahead and take a look at the balance sheet, I'm just going to pull up a quick Seeking Alpha just to take a quick look and show you guys the balance sheet. I should have just pulled it up from their report, but just bear with me. We can see that Novo is currently sitting on $3 billion cash. They have quite a bit of debt right now. But like I said, they are very much free cash flow positive, and I don't see them having any issues paying this debt off. You know, the long-term debt to total capital is 32.66%. This is, you know, better than Pfizer. It's in line with a lot of other names in this sector as well. So there's really nothing to be concerned with from a balance sheet perspective. So ultimately, guys, I believe Novo is absolutely setting up for a major, major run over the next 1 to 2 years. Getting in at the $40 price range, if it goes to 80, you guys 100% your investment. And that would put Novo at probably a 24 price to earnings. I believe Novo realistically should be getting at least at a minimum a 25 to 30 price to earnings valuation. We will see what happens at the earnings report coming up, but at these levels, at this technical setup where it's at, this is a huge, huge buy. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to end the video there. You know, like I said, please keep your eye on this name. I'm going to keep talking about this name over on my Twitter, which I'm going to link below. Also on my TikTok page, that will also be linked below. If you guys want to check out my Patreon for just more in-depth information, feel free to head over there. That link is also in the bio. But with that being said, if you learned something, feel free to leave a like. Feel free to comment your thoughts down below. Feel free to save this video, and we will see you guys in the next one.